Hey Waffle Gang, I do hope you're well. My name is Mark and today we're checking out some more Reddit stories, and if you do love a Reddit story, why not consider hitting that like, that subscribe, and maybe that cheeky notification bell too. And let's crack on with today's first story. Much love, guys. Now, today's first story comes from a throwaway account and asks, am I the arsehole here? My ex-fiancee tried to get my wife to cheat on me. I think my ex-fiancee, Jess, 31 female, might have tried to get my wife, Olivia, 30 female, drunk and cheat on me. My wife thinks I'm overreacting and overthinking the whole situation. Can someone tell me if I would be the arsehole to ask Olivia to stop being friends with Jess immediately? For context, Jess and I started dating during the sophomore year of our college. We met through mutual friends and connected instantly. She was charming and outgoing and made friends instantly everywhere she went. I am more shy and nerdy, but I enjoyed going out to parties with her. We got engaged on our graduation day as both our families were attending. I got a job in a big tech company right after college, and Jess moved in with me while looking for jobs. This is when the relationship started going downhill. Jess was an art major and had trouble finding a stable job. She did a bunch of freelance work and mostly worked from home. I was overwhelmed with work. She always wanted to go out to bars and clubs, and I wanted to rest in the evening after 10 to 12 hours of work. I was okay with her going out with friends alone, and I would sometimes tag along on the weekend. It bothered me that she was still in a party girl phase. She complained that I was becoming boring and should enjoy my early 20s before we settled down. I was also not happy with the friends she hung out with, as there was a lot of drinking and drug use. Even when I went out with her friends, she would be extremely flirty with guys in her friends group. Her excuse was always that she gets flirty when she is drunk, or she was just joking. I had enough and decided to call off the engagement after 2 years, as we were just different people at that point. The breakup was messy and she kept trying to get back with me for almost a year. There were some incidences where Jess may not have acted in her best judgment, and I blocked her from all my social media. I did not want to deal with the drama and wanted to move on. I also got a transfer to another town around that time and never heard from Jess again. That is when I started dating my wife, Olivia. My wife was the exact opposite of Jess. She was very soft-spoken and a homebody like me. She knew I was engaged before. We dated for 3 years and happily married for 2 years now. However, one of the sticking points we always had was my Thursday nights. 3 of my closest college friends are now scattered all across the country, and we generally play a video game together on Thursday evenings since our college days. Olivia complained that she does get bored during that time. About 6 months ago, Olivia told me she got a Facebook invite for a group where they had painting and wine nights on Thursdays. It was mostly 8 to 10 women who got together at someone's house and spent the evening painting, drinking, wine, and gossiping. According to Olivia, it was just a few housewives and divorcees, and they welcomed her. One of the women's names was Jess, but I did not think much of it. 2 weeks ago, Olivia told me it was Jess's birthday, and they wanted to do a ladies' night at a club. Olivia hates loud music, but Jess convinced her to come for dinner and some drinks. On that night, I got a call from Olivia at 10 p.m, asking if I could come pick her up. I could tell something was wrong and immediately left to pick her up. I went to the bar and went to pick up Olivia. I was shocked when I realized that her friend Jess was my ex-fiancee. She also looked surprised to see me there. I was polite and said hello to everyone, but Olivia wanted to get out of there as soon as possible. After we went in the car, I told Olivia that Jess was my ex-fiancee, whom I had not seen for almost 7 years. Olivia was shocked to hear it, as she did not know about it. It was crazy since I did not even know she lived in the same city as us. Olivia told me Jess was the one who had started the painting group. She had divorced her husband 2 years ago and moved to our city for a fresh start. The reason why she called me was because she was getting uncomfortable with the situation at the bar. Since Jess and one of the other women was single, they kept on encouraging guys, hitting on them and inviting them over to their table. Jess was trying to get everyone drunk and was asking Olivia to open up and have fun. She was constantly hyping up Olivia to 2 of the guys who bought them a round of drinks. At this point, Olivia excused herself to go to the restroom and called me to pick her up. I'm not happy with the situation, but I am also not mad at Olivia. I'm just uncomfortable with Olivia hanging out with Jess. I told Olivia about the same. Olivia told me that she was never going to put herself in the same situation again with Jess or anyone else. Also, this friend group is the only real social life she has since we both are in a completely new city. She does not want to stop going to her painting nights with her friends. I brought up the thought that Jess could be acting in malice, but Olivia told me she did not think Jess would know I was her husband, as Olivia never showed my picture to anyone in the group. She also said that it's been 7 years since we broke up. Jess is a kind person, and I should not judge her based on one night when she was drunk. She still wants to stay friends with Jess. On one hand, I do not want to separate Olivia from her friends, but my gut feeling is telling me something is off in this situation. Besides, it feels weird to have my ex be friends with my wife. Am I the arsehole to want Olivia to stop being friends with Jess because of my gut feeling? Or should I just let it go, as it's Olivia's call to make? Now, before I get started in my comment, there was one paragraph that jumped out to me, and I mean, it's not part of the main story really, but about the Thursday night where he plays video games with his friends, and she's complaining that she gets bored during that time. She can't entertain herself for a few hours during one night of the week. Is that just me? Did anyone else find that really weird? It wouldn't last 2 minutes with me. I'm hobbying or gaming or something every single night. I'm thinking multiple ways on this story. My initial thoughts is that, where you just explained the first part of the story, Olivia's given you no reason not to trust her, that she phoned you immediately when all this was going down and wanted to remove herself from that situation. So just letting her deal with this in her own way. I understand why you're uncomfortable with the situation at the same time. As I always say, I've seen one too many Reddit stories and I got a bad feeling about Jess in this situation. I'm wondering if Jess is friends with Olivia on social media and has maybe seen this relationship in the background. I mean, Jess certainly could be the type, right? To look at their profiles and put 2 and 2 together and then maybe stir up some drama. I mean, I might be just going wild here with the usual Reddit stuff, but OP is saying themselves that their gut feeling is telling them something is off. But Cat MD says to OP, info. Did Olivia tell this group that she was married? Because if Jess knew she was married and was trying to get her to cheat on you, even if she didn't know it was specifically you, then that is really, really scummy. She should not be hanging out with friends who encourage her to cheat on her spouse. Opie responds saying, yes, I know this because one of the ladies in the painting group lives in our neighborhood and she knows me as Olivia's husband. Plus her Instagram and Facebook has all of our pictures together. I also felt the same about Jess's behavior. She made her uncomfortable to a point where she had to call me to pick her up. She who knits says not the arsehole, but you need to remain low-key and I'll let Olivia process this information. The paint and wine nights are harmless and the birthday bar night could just be a one-off and Olivia may choose to not participate in one ever again. She also knew how to handle the situation on her own, so she's not a vulnerable, naive wife fresh off the turnip truck. Trust your wife. If she gets any mean girl vibes off of Jess, she'll know how to deal. Opie says that is the approach I am taking for now. I do not really have any reason not to trust Olivia. It's Jess who I don't trust. However, I do not want to come out as an arsehole and insecure in asking her to stop seeing Jess, and as a consequence of her friends group, she does not have a lot of friends and seems to enjoy being with others. Plus, the other women in her group seem to be nice. Olivia told me it was a lesson learned for her and would not put herself in situations anymore where she goes to bars alone. She felt Jess did not act inappropriately since she is single and allowed to flirt with guys. Olivia just felt uncomfortable and removed herself from the situation. So then, around 3 months later, OP comes in with an update and says, I posted about how my ex-fiancee tried to get my wife to cheat on me 3 months ago. Things were good since then, but last week has been crazy, and I wish my wife were not as naive to let Jess back into our lives. I really need help on what I can do at this point. For reference, I broke up with my ex-fiancee Jess 7 years ago and have been together with my wife for 5 years, married for 2. After the night of Jess's birthday, where she tried to get my wife drunk and flirt with strangers, I had a long conversation with my wife. I laid down why I was uncomfortable with her hanging out with Jess. My wife agreed with most of what I said, but she feels that enough time has passed now where we can let things go. She also talked to Jess and she told her she had no idea about me and it's just one happy coincidence. Jess also insisted to my wife that she moved on with her life after our breakup, found love, and unfortunately, the marriage did not last. She told Olivia that maybe we could all go out for dinner together and clear out the issues. Jess also insisted that she was just having fun at the bar and apologized to my wife if her drunk behavior made her uncomfortable. My wife asked me if I would be okay with their friendship, as she has not found a social group in the new town for a long time, and Jess seems like a changed person. She also told me that she would only meet these women during her art night and not go out on girls' nights or trips. I felt that as long as Olivia was comfortable, I should not have any reason to be worried. We also had dinner with Jess once, and Jess was very friendly. She told me about what happened in her marriage and how she is on a healing journey right now. She also apologized to me for her behavior during our last few months together. Jess also now owns a business and works as a freelance artist and graphic designer. Was also gracious, says we were just 23 and I harbor no ill feelings. My wife also started hosting art nights at our place once a month or so, and I had to move to my office for my game nights. Last week, after the art night, Jess and one other lady hung back, and we were all drinking wine and chatting. The other lady was asking questions about Jess and I. Jess told her it was old history, and I went no contact with Jess for 4 years. That was the reason why she had no idea about Olivia. Olivia looked at me and asked Jess, "You mean 7 years ago, right?" Jess said no. That was when we broke up. However, we met every time I came back to my hometown. I thought she was drunk, so I corrected her again that it was 7 years ago, and she was misremembering things. Jess said maybe, and we moved on. The next day, Jess sent a bunch of photos to my wife of me and Jess hanging out. They were just innocent photos like us having dinner at a music festival, working out together, etc. The weirdest part was I had a few tattoos on my body that I got after I broke up with Jess. I also never owned the clothes the person in the photo was wearing. Even the photos were timestamped to 4 years ago, Christmas 2019. Olivia freaked out because we started dating in summer 2019. I did make a trip alone to my hometown in Christmas 2019. However, I never met Jess. She started asking me why I did not tell her about meeting Jess. I tried to tell her that these things never happened, but she does not believe me. She also called Jess, and Jess told her that we met because I was back in town. However, we were just platonic at that point, and it's not what my wife was thinking. I confronted Jess, and she told me that I'm stupid to not tell Olivia about meeting her, and also not telling her about Olivia. She says that I told her I am still single. Olivia is very angry at me. She's not believing a word I am saying. I kept on telling her that I have not seen her for 7 years. Olivia says she does not mind me meeting her, but I should have told her as we were together. I volunteered to show her all my phone records during that time, but they only go back to 3 years on my carrier. I'm confused how those photos can even exist when I never met her. They are definitely photos from when I was with Olivia, as I look more muscular in these pictures and also have tattoos that I did not have back then. I even told her that she can call my friends and family and ask them about the trip, but she says that she has all the photos of my trip and my friends and family will cover for me. Can someone please help me on what I can do in this case? I need to convince Olivia that this is all false, but she's just angry at me and giving me the silent treatment. I swear that I did not meet Jess during that trip, and I'm caught up in this mess without my fault. Now, OP focusing on the photos and is adamant that he's not on the photos, which brings me back to Jess's job title, and the top comment on that one says the same, so I'm just going to read their comment, which is from Forwardmost 1933, and says, "What in the Twilight Zone is going on here? Jess is a freelance artist and graphic designer. Has your wife not heard of Photoshop? Olivia is really naive to believe Jess has good intentions here. I suggest you remove Jess from your lives immediately. You and your wife need to focus on your relationship. Jess knows exactly how to drive a wedge between you two, using your wife's longing for friends, naivety, and kindness against her. This is only going to spiral more if Jess continues to be in your lives. I'd also be more upset at Olivia for believing her friend / your ex over her husband." Opie responded saying, "I tried to convince my wife it might be photoshopped. My wife wants to believe me, but after watching the photos and checking every possible thing, she does not trust me anymore. I also tried to find any inconsistencies in the photos that might make it seem that way. However, everything just looked right. Even the letters in my tattoo on my arm look correct in one of the pictures from gym where I'm in workout clothes." OP was also told about a website that looks for photoshopped artifacts within photos and directed there. Tanya says, your ex's deceit is unsettling, but your priority should be regaining your wife's trust. Open up, provide evidence, and emphasize your honesty. Clear communication is your best tool in this situation. Opie says, I am trying to. I'm looking for any contradicting evidence. My wife is open to listening to me, but she also has pictures in front of her that show otherwise. If I were in her shoes, it would be hard not to believe them. Mary says, also the metadata from the digital photos should provide proof enough. Your ex is a graphic artist. She likely knows her way around photo editing software. Let's also not forget AI images and how convincing they can be. Opie says, I checked for metadata. I'm also in tech and checked everything I could. Everything, including pixels around my face, look correct. Nova Prime says, look, if your wife is willing to believe Jess after everything she has done, then you are honestly better off without her. Olivia's desperate need for friendship is blinding her to what's going on. This would honestly be a deal breaker for me. What's Jess going to accuse you of next? False abuse accusations? Olivia is not going to have your back. This isn't something therapy is going to fix. Your wife trusts your psycho ex over you. The relationship is already done. Protect yourself and move on from both of them. I would also consider speaking to the police about the harassment from Jess, because I think this might get worse before it gets better. Possibly even hire someone to confirm edited photos. Not the arsehole. Opie responds saying, I understand my wife and those photos look real. Also, what I do not get is she is accusing me of just platonically hanging out with her and nothing more. She told my wife that it was nothing and we just hang out a few times when I met her. I do not know what her endgame is here. Also, in no circumstances am I ready to lose Olivia. She's my better half and I love her. I wish she trusted me a bit more and not believe that I hung out with Jess 4 years ago when we met. It is all just giving me a weird vibe. Aggravating Tack says, because she's planting a seed. Your wife will assume the worst without her verbalizing it over time. Or maybe she will reveal that you both did sleep and she didn't say it before to not tear you both apart. You need to tell her she's bad news. She's a digital artist. Believe me, it's easy as hell to edit photos to look real. Add in AI so that you cannot tell them apart without the trained eye. And even that fails sometimes. If your wife doesn't believe you after that explanation, she never will. If someone doesn't want to believe you, they will make up reasons to not believe you. And clearly, this story is far from over. And it could go multiple ways. If Olivia keeps Jess in their friendship group, I can't see this relationship lasting. Jess is up to no good, is trying to ruin their marriage. And Olivia, because of whatever insecurities that she's got going in her life, like one of the comments said, her longing for friendship, is believing her over her own husband. And like many of the comments says, the tools that programs like Photoshop provide make it easy to do this kind of stuff these days. In my previous job, it was part of my job to, touch up photos or whatever of products. And you get these photos of these products that look like absolute shit. But then after a bit of Photoshop, touching up, filters, etc., they look decent. They say that you can't polish a turd, but you can on Photoshop. And the photos may look legit and it may have her questioning things, but to instantly believe Jess after Opie already raised his concerns about Jess to Olivia to begin with, not listening to him or seeing that, she's a freelance graphic designer, she's got the skills to do this, and just believing her over him would piss me off, to be quite frank. But the question is as well, what is Jess's end game in this? Is she trying to get OP back? It doesn't make sense with the way she's going about it because she's destroying her marriage. Yeah, she needs to do that to get with him, sure, but she's also just going to piss him off. Or is it one of those situations where some people just want to see the world burn? What do you guys make of this situation? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below, and let's have one more story. And our next story comes from a throwaway account, which is titled, I-30 female just heard a phone notification in the bathroom while showering alone. Should I ask my fiance 33 male about it? So, my fiance and I have been together for 4 years, engaged for 1. I was taking a relaxing bath this evening to enjoy the silence and let the bathroom fan drown out all the outside noise. My phone was on silent and I wasn't wearing earbuds. I'm deep in a meditative state in the bath when I'm jarred by a phone text or email notification sound clear as day coming from inside the bathroom. I got up immediately, like, what the fuck? I checked my phone even though I knew it was silent and there was no notifications. I'm kind of worried at this point and just feel a sinking in my stomach. I get dressed and look through every crevice, box, cabinet, drawer, and plumbing fixture in the bathroom to find nothing. I know for a fact I did not just hear it in my brain. It was a distinct Android boop 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 boop, which we don't have any Androids. Before anyone asks, yes, I checked my carbon monoxide levels. Lol, they are fine. I have no mental illnesses. My question is, what do I do? Do I even bring this up to my fiance? I sound crazy. I don't want to be accusatory, but my first thought was a second phone hidden by him in the bathroom. I couldn't imagine he could ever cheat, but you can never be too vigilant when something random and unexpected like this happens. Should I just wait and see if it happens again? I'm not gonna lie, I'm a little paranoid and have been convincing myself I manifested the noise, but I know in my gut it was real. Where else would I even look though? So there was just a string of comments between someone and OP. KZA says, I don't get it. OP says, okay, imagine you're alone in the bath and hear a notification very close by in the room when nobody has left their phone there, and it's not your phone making the noise, and you look to see where the noise came from and don't find anything. What do you do next? KZA replies saying, I'd assume I imagined it, just like when I feel a phantom vibration in my pocket. OP says, that's what I'm trying to play it off as it was just very distinct and not quiet. Also, not a notification sound I'm familiar with. I truly feel like I didn't randomly hear a notification that I've heard like 2 other times in my life. KZed says, did he hear it? OP says no, he wasn't home at the time. I just checked the vents and see nothing. I've never heard any neighbors through my bathroom before. KZA says, probably nothing, and OP says, I guess. But, of course, it was something. OP came in with an update sometime later and says, my first post didn't get a ton of activity, but I was made to feel like a crazy person by most people. And for some reason, some of my comments were either deleted or just didn't appear on the post. Anyways, I did not talk to my fiance about it because I found the phone before we got home. Yeah, I tore the bathroom apart again like a madman, but this time I checked behind the toilet tank between the wall. We have about a 2-inch gap, and mounted on the back of the tank was one of those $1 Temu holder things that you peel off and stick onto something to hold items. The phone was placed inside of that sticky mounted thing. Definitely not my phone, and obviously it was meticulously placed there. Well, my fiance and I broke up. The password was the same as his computer that we shared, so I unlocked it while trying to stifle an anxiety attack and found Snapchat conversations with at least 3 different women. The notification sound I heard lined up with a most recent snap sent to him of a woman's bare privates asking when he can come stuff it again. In a rage, I smashed the phone and texted my fiance to come home immediately. He came home and already looked pale like he knew. I asked him how fucking long has this been going on, and he refused to answer anything. I told him to pack his crap and leave. As he walks out with his backpack, I hear him mutter, I knew I forgot to silence it. So yeah, I wasn't crazy. I actually heard a notification and he's fucking cheating. Now my whole world is upside down and I don't know where to go from here. I just can't believe this. I fell asleep crying and woke up in a daze feeling like everything was normal until I remembered. So not a very fun update. Sorry. Single vacation says to OP, so he probably keeps it in there because he used it when he was in the bathroom. Otherwise, there'd be much better places to keep it hidden. OP says that's exactly what I think happened. He did take really long showers, sometimes 2 to 3 times a day. Single vacation says, okay, that was already very weird. So he wasted a lot of water that was just running while he texted chicks on Snap. OP says, well, apparently it was the perfect spot to hide a phone because stuff dated back almost a year. Fucking wish it was fake, seriously. But now, I'm going to turn this one to you guys. What do you guys make of this situation? Let us know your thoughts in today's stories, and just a huge thank you for being here today, getting involved in the stories. Your love, your support, your time always means the absolute world to me. And thank you for being here, and hopefully I'll see you in the next one. Take care and much love.